welcome to a really boring tutorial. There, I said it. But at the same time, it's a crucial tutorial if you want to make parks like this, or this in Jurassic World Evolution 2. I will be using this grid technique to remake my world map park from the first game in the sequel, for which you will see a speed build soon. And I will need a grid for the next building series on the channel, Mini Manticore Island. In the first episode of Mini Nooblar, I glossed over the process of how I made the grid, and I got quite a few confused comments from people saying that they couldn't make the grid work. In this video, I will go through it step by step, so there won't be any questions left over at the end, and anybody can use this technique to cheat and create the most complicated island shapes the easy way. For more tips and tricks, not just boring ones, consider subscribing to the channel. Obviously, you make a grid on a square map, and it can be any square map of choice. I'm actually in the process of making a grid on every square map biome that we have, just so I have like a library of these grids that I can use for all sorts of builds. So we're getting started. I've picked a corner. You can pick any of the 4 corners. And I think the mistake that people are making is this. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a path, and I think what people are doing when trying and failing to make a grid is they start like right at the corner, and they do that, and then they just keep going down. The risk with that is that the map is so huge that eventually, and I'm gonna do it in like an exaggerated way so we can actually guarantee that it'll happen, but eventually what might happen is this, and you run into the border of the map. And it might be the case that, let's say you start like this, so it's, you know, it goes well for the first side, but then for another side, you would eventually again, there, run into the map border and therefore be unable to successfully make a grid. I think that's what people are running into. That's just my assumption. I don't know. What you actually want to do is stay out of the corner a little bit. Now, you don't have to go too far with it. You don't want to waste too much space, but just a little bit. Let's say right there, something like that. And instead of doing this, you know, starting, as I said before, and just going through like that, you might again risk that you're so off-center that you're gonna run into the map border again. So what you want to do is you want to put it like right outside of the corner, something like that. Let's make it a little bit even. And we're gonna fly all the way down to the far end of the map. It's a long way. There you go. And at about the same distance between here and here as we did all the way back at the top, I'm just gonna click once. And that will have placed one length of path where we started. So flying back up, there you go. So you can see one length of path. And this is gonna guarantee that on this side, we're gonna make it to the far end without any issue. So now I want to click again because I'm going to be making a grid that is 2 by 2 squares. You could make 1 by 1 squares. So this would be a 1 by 1 square. It's not really necessary. The maps are so big that I think it actually helps you to make the grid a little bit bigger as well. So I do 2 by 2, which means 2 maximum path lengths. So a 2 by 2 square would be like this, right? You use the maximum path length. You can see that I'm pulling out the cursor as far as I want. You know, the maximum path length is not going to change. So that's 2 maximum path lengths. You want to use the snap to your full advantage. You can see and hear it snap to a 90-degree angle. So you do that. Make sure that you don't make a mistake and be like a little bit off. See? Obviously, that's not going to work. You want to make sure that you're at that perfect 90-degree angle that the game helps you with. 1, 2... and then you go back, and that is a perfect 2 by 2 square. So that's the basis of the grid that I'm going to show you. So we have 2 maximum path lengths. I'm going to attach it, and I'm just going to lay out one 90-degree angle path. And we're going to do that for the entire length. So 1, 2, sideways. 1, 2 sideways. And literally you have to do this all the way down. And this is a very boring step. I'm not gonna lie to you. It takes me about 30 minutes to make a full grid. Alright, I have reached the bottom over here, and I have quite a bit of space left. If I had made the squares one by one, you can see that I would have been able to fit in another one, but not enough for 2 by 2. So we're gonna leave this blank, and it's not necessarily going to be wasted space. We can use that for numbering. That's later on in the tutorial though. So we have this first 90-degree section. We're gonna continue that because again, it's a 2 by 2 grid. And then we're gonna do the same thing in this direction. Literally. I told you this would be boring, but it's very, very important. So I'm doing the same thing I did before. And really the key here is that you have to make sure that you're going straight. Especially if you've been going for a while. I would recommend, like, if you have a second monitor, put something on your second monitor. Or put something on your phone to distract you. I have a bunny keeping me company. Will I edit him in? You know what? I'll probably edit him in. Sure. Anyway, I highly recommend that you do something in the meantime to entertain yourself through this whole process. However, a little bit of distraction does make you more prone to mistakes. So really, really, there, see? Be careful that you keep the angle at that perfect 90-degree angle that the game helps you with. Okay, and we've reached another far side. Again, there would have been a space here for one more 1 by 1 square as well. We don't do that. We're gonna angle it and we're gonna go back. And again, we're doing the same thing because obviously you have to do this for all 4 sides. Now at this point, because I am doing it for the 4th time, I have some practice in this and it's kind of hard to explain, but I hope that, you know, seeing the process on screen will help you, like, do as I do. But you can see that I'm just moving the camera along, you know, using the D to just move the camera sideways. And it's really a minimal movement from the the hand that operates the cursor. Obviously, on console, this would, you know, require different handling, I suppose, different kind of fine motor skills, but it's doable. You just have to power through. Okay, so we've reached the end again, and oh, big mistake, and there. This will be our 4th and final side because that's how squares work. You also want to make sure that you really put the cursor at the edge here. Like, because I just noticed back here, I almost did that. And it's very hard to see, but it's slightly off. You really want to make sure that it snaps into position, and it is an audible thing. So now, we have all 4 sides. So this is the current situation, right? Obviously, we're very far removed from this being a functional grid. This is the most boring part, but it is the easiest part. So again, if you just put on a TV series or something, that's really gonna help. But what you want to do now is put the cursor on the end of one of these. You're gonna fly all the way over to the far side of it. And God, it is a trick. And you're gonna put it on the corresponding bit of path at the far end here. So just put the cursor there and start clicking. Hold on, let me angle the camera so you can see it approaching. So you can see in the distance that the path is coming our way. I'm just clicking non-stop to get the path to come over here. And it's just a really easy, like, no attention span required way to make this straight line. And you do that for the entire grid. And I'm not gonna lie to you. This is boring. Thankfully, we have the bunny here with us. And I'm also gonna speed build through this, so don't worry about that. Because once I've completed this, I also just want to show you how to actually use the grid and, like, get the most out of it, you know? I want to give you the full experience here so you can build some awesome stuff. Because this is really just a cheat to make the most complex island shapes imaginable in a really easy way. Okay, so after all of that, I think that was about 6 minutes, something like that. That's not too bad, I guess. I'm only halfway though. So we're gonna start over here, and we're gonna go all the way across, and we're gonna do the same thing. Actually, I want to address the obvious here. If you prefer, you could also do it like this. If that is your preference, have at it. I personally don't want to. It's the last one. It's the last one. It's been 31 minutes. Now I will give myself, I'll cut myself a little bit of slack. Some of that time was like showing like the tutorial aspect of this whole thing. But yeah, I'd say 30 minutes is about what you can expect from this process. And then what you have is a finished, perfect 2x2 grid. And before I show you like how to actually get the most out of this grid, I want to show you something else, which is, let's grab a terrain paint, snow, there you go. Where did I have my space left over? It's this side and this side. These are the sides where, you know, we couldn't fit in another 2x2 square. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna number these sides, and that's just gonna help us later to keep easy track of things. You don't have to do this, but it makes this open space feel a little less. I cannot count, apparently. Okay, confirmed. I'm not even gonna edit that out. Yeah, confirmed. Evo cannot count. What is happening? What? I have no idea what happened in my brain right there. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not gonna edit that out. There you go. I'm comfortable with my mistakes there. I can count. I swear I can. There you go. 19. That's to be expected. Again, I've built a couple of grids at this point, so it is 19 by 19 squares. You can number this. I'm gonna go the extra mile, or I'm gonna hide the fact that I can't count. I'm gonna do letters on this side. Watch me fill out the alphabet. JK. There you go. All right, so we have our grid, and what I do now is I save it. So this is my California grid. Save it. Now I've shown you how to make the grid, but I still have to show you how to actually use the grid to its fullest advantage. And for that you do need some kind of photo editing. I use Photoshop, you know, living the YouTuber life, but you can actually just Google online for free photo editing websites that'll achieve the same thing. Really all you need is a way to overlay a PNG file, a transparent PNG file, over any reference image that you want. As you might recall, this was the start of Mini Nublar. I recreated this version of Nublar for my park build, and I did that using this grid. And again, I glossed over the process in that first video of the building series, got a few comments on it, so that's why I'm showing you right here. So I have this grid right here, and there, if I make it black, you can see it a little bit better. So this is a 19 by 19 square grid, and this is literally just a image that I googled, just a PNG grid file, and I can use this for any image that I want. So what you can do is just Google an image of whatever shape that you want to recreate as an island. For example, I'm going to be working on a manticore island for the next building series. So I would use this image right here, and I'm just angling it so I can make it as big as possible. I might actually not make it that big, so I can have like a little bit of ocean all the way around. So let's say like that. But this would be my reference image, and I would use this to draw in the game. So I actually have like a version ready where I just filled it in a little bit to make it a little bit more clearer. So I would take this image, I would put it up on my second monitor, Quick detour into a free program, because I did say this would be a complete no questions necessary at the end kind of video. So this is Pixlr. It's just an online photo editor completely for free. This is the Dutch version. I have my grid in here. I will make this grid available for you. I will share it in a Google Drive in a link down below in the description box. You can get it from there. Please leave a like on your way down. You can load this into Pixlr and then you can select your own reference image. There, don't ask any questions. And then I just drag my grid on top of that. I would save this image and I have my reference right here, no Photoshop required. I would go back into the game and I would start to draw the shape. And you would draw it one square at a time. So just look at your reference image and there's like a little... I'm not being super careful right now. Because it's just for the sake of this video. I'm not actually gonna be building this park on this specific biome. But here it would go up a little bit, and then there would be like a little bit of an inlet, and it peeks out, and it goes like that, and then here, and it curves down, and it goes sharper. And you can see how easy this is because you're really you're drawing it one square at a time. So the square itself becomes a reference to help you figure out the proportion of all of these shapes. So let's say I finished drawing the entire island. I've perfected it. Well, then I can start deleting the grid. Yeah, delete some more. Just imagine I'm deleting the whole grid all the way around, and then you can bring in the water up until you're drawing. Now, the reason I don't draw with the water tool inside of the grid is because the water doesn't want to go fully to the edge of the path, so you can't be as precise with it. So that is why I draw with the terrain tools, which can just seamlessly overlap with the path. And then when you delete it, it's visible under the path, so no detail is lost that way. I hope that this video has given you the tools to get started on your own next awesome project, and I hope that you will join me for the build of Mini Manticore Island, which will start at the end of this week. And it's going to be another weekly building series on the channel, and this time we're going to explore like making a park split into 4 vastly different biomes. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, good luck with the grid.